Welcome to the Future in Review Conference. I'm John Wells. I'm now sitting with Richard Romanowski. He is the Executive Chairman of Planet Arc Power, which is an Australian renewable energy company focused on providing comprehensive clean energy solutions that help businesses and organizations slash electricity costs and build a sustainable energy future. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, John.
Tell us about your company.
Well, we've invented a way to radically increase the amount of rooftop solar that we can put into a suburb. When you fly into London or to LA or to Sydney, Australia, you look down and you see all these empty rooftops of commercial solar, industrial solar, tons and tons and square miles of empty space, and it's such a huge opportunity. Problem is that when you put around 15 to 20% of the energy in a suburb, it creates a backwards power flow. The grid is built one way, like a freeway, going one way. And we have a little artificial intelligence and a black box device that then manages the voltage in real time behind the meter. And that then allows for the grid to actually go completely two-way.
And this one-way situation, which is problematic, is that in Australia and other countries or just principally in Australia?
Well, the grid is actually almost the same everywhere in the world. So the answer is yes, it's global.
And who specifically are your customers? Do you sell to the people that own the buildings, or are you selling to integrators that are installing the panels and the solutions?
So it is the integrators and the global asset funds that are interested in our technology, but we're licensing them. So our business model is the Intel Inside type business model. We're going to be licensing everybody. Anytime you install rooftop solar, you'll be able to consider using our little tech in that solution, so you can radically increase the amount of solar you install and radically increase your return on investment.
I'm curious about something. We've heard so much about battery technology and how it's evolving and the number of cycles that they're able to do and how much charge they're able to hold on to, and all of this technology that continues to move forward on almost a quarterly basis. You're reading stories about it, but I don't hear that much about solar panels and that technology evolving. Have we hit all the efficiencies?
Not really, but the issue is I call it the Henry Ford. Same with batteries and with solar panels. It's about high volume production to get the prices down. So yes, they'll improve in the efficiency over time, but we don't really need it. Saving the planet, we can do it now.
I'm still trying to understand the problem. Is it that with the way the grid is set up, that people will collect solar for their own consumption, but they have no way of being able to put it on the grid to go in the opposite direction to service?
Yes, so when you put solar on a roof in Australia, I'll use a house for example, you put say 5 kilowatts on a house, and you're sending energy during the day back into the grid. Two things happen. Sooner or later, it raises the voltage, and that voltage problem then affects equipment. It'll blow up your microwaves or blow up other people's equipment, and so the grid then either gives you zero export, so that's happening in Hawaii, or the smart inverter trips off. So in Australia, what you're getting is I think I'm going to get a 3-year payback on my solar,
right,
but I'm really going to get a 5 or a 7-year payback or a 9-year payback because the inverter's tripping off or the grid's going to shut me off from not sending energy into the grid. But we fix that, so we fix that voltage in real time so that you get your 3-year payback.
Oh, it's very exciting. I read about your company recently, and that Abu Dhabi gave you a distinction for having a full spectrum solution. Can you tell us about that?
We went to Abu Dhabi and we presented there to the World Energy Congress because we won the World Energy Council, won on the world stage because of our technology. They said it's game changing. So the full spectrum is that we can fix the rooftop solar. We can then install batteries, so that because you can actually put a huge battery behind the meter instead of putting them on the grid. It's much more effective when it's put in situ. That battery can save the customer money on demand charges, but then we can actually send excess energy into the grid. So it's a huge combination of things. When you have a voltage problem, then it gives you unknown income stream, and then the bank won't fund it. So that was the final trifecta, is that there's billions and billions of dollars wanting to invest in renewables. When you fix the voltage problem, you then allow for the banks to fund it.
Interestingly, a lot of people would think that Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, that they really wouldn't be interested in solar, but they've been investing in that technology and other alternative technologies for some time now, haven't they?
They have been, and so they, when we were there, the Sheikh has announced that he wants every single rooftop in the cities to be filled with solar. But then the engineers come talk to us and say, but we can't do that, because they know they can't.
Yeah.
And so they're talking to us about coming into Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia to fix that problem. So it really is unbelievable, the reception we've received all over the world, and especially there in Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia.
And do you manufacture the panels themselves, or just the technical solution that makes it all work?
Just a technical solution, just a little tiny, it's like, think of the Intel chip inside of a computer. So we're just that little tiny piece of chip and software and hardware and software that goes inside the big, huge, multi-million-dollar installation. So for example, in a large international furniture company, where is our first demonstration site in Australia.
Sure.
It's about $7.5 million, the whole solar and battery kit. But our little bit is only about $250,000 of money in that whole thing to make it work. And that system is about 1.5 megawatts of solar, so 5 football fields of rooftop solar and 3 40-foot containers of batteries. So it's huge in terms of a commercial site.
What are the biggest challenges that your company has?
This is sort of an unknown, hidden problem. No one really understands it. It's not like it hits you in the face. So it gets very technical and gets very confusing to people to understand. So it's in fact, in terms of your listeners, they would love it, because it's like, wow, this is pretty interesting. They actually look up reactive power and look up reverse power flow. Google that, and they'll actually get a ton of information about it, and we solve those two problems.
But in these various markets, if you get someone like the Sheikh to be an advocate, if you get someone in that position, who for the state of Connecticut, the governor's saying, hey, listen, this is what we need to do, that's certainly going to help, isn't it?
And that's exactly what's happening. And that's happening in every jurisdiction. So Singapore as well, we have phenomenal interest from Singapore, for example. So it's not, again, back to what we talked about, the grid is more or less the same grid everywhere. It's going to have the same problem, or it has the problem. So Nice in southern France has enough solar that they're beginning to have that voltage problem, and that people, when you're trying to install solar on the roof, are getting told you can't do it, and therefore we're being asked to come help them.
Well, welcome to the Future in Review Conference. It's going to be an extraordinary week for you. What are your expectations?
Oh, most importantly is to meet some fantastic people. That's obviously coming through. We are in a capital raising, so part of the Secretary General of the World Energy Council, when we won our global prize, he said to us, this is absolutely fantastic, it's game-changing. And we were only thinking Australia. He said, no, you need to think bigger. You need to think 100 times bigger. So we're actually raising 20 million US to help us expand and go global, basically.
Well, Richard Romanowski is the executive chairperson of Planet Arc Power, Australia-based. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.